Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
Now entering the game for Philly Pressbox Radio, Bill Furman and Jim Chet Chesko.
It's Wednesday, Red October 4th, 2023. Welcome to the Philly Pressbox Radio Roundtable, brought to you by the Irish Rover Station House in Langhorne, PA. Allstate Insurance in Westchester, PA. Cavs, Philly Tailgates, and the Edge of Philly Sports Network. I'm Bill Furman. I'll be your host tonight, along with my partner, Jim Chet Chesko. And hey, Chet, the Phillies just one game away from moving on to the next round. The Eagles are 4-0. Sixers camp is underway. James Harden is in the house. Go figure. And Flyer season is now just 8 days away. Let's go. Plenty to talk about on the Philly sports scene.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? We'll get to Harden later, but let's focus on the positives right now, Bill. Some real exciting stuff happening with our Phillies and the Eagles. And hey, Penn State's doing rather well too.
Yeah, I couldn't find time to fit them in, but the Nittany Lions are undefeated as well and creeping up in the rankings. So there's always that going on. Man, what a fun time of year it is right now.
It really is. We're having a good old time. And, man, I wish I had tickets to one of these games down at the ballpark because that crowd is electric. Our pals James Seltzer and the new national star, Jack Fritz, getting a mention on ESPN last night. They're down there again tonight having a good old time. So I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, absolutely. And, shout out to the Philly fans too, Chet, because I read today where the reason the Phillies are the 2 8 o'clock games on prime time is because of how the Philadelphia fans carried the coverage last year.
Yeah.
So they got prime time this year to go with it, and much deserved. And Zach Wheeler said all need to be said last night. He said it was electric out on the mound.
Oh, yeah. And like the other three sites for the wild card games, I mean, you could have gotten tickets, for $25-$30 to some of these games. The Phillies, $200, $150 maybe for standing room or whatever. I think there's more people watching us right now than were at the Tampa Bay games last night or today.
Yeah. I mean, how many years have we been doing this and I've been telling you about Tampa Bay fans and how that whole setup is, and I will tell you this, as football season goes along, they actually lost season tickets the day Tom Brady left town. Thousands of people dropped their tickets. It's just not what we're used to. Still too many transplants and not enough generations yet to become fans of the home teams.
Yeah, it's very different for sure with the sports environment down there.
That's right. Well, hey, we have a couple great guests tonight in the radio voice of the Phillies, Kevin Stocker, and treasurer of the Philly Sports Hall of Fame, Mike Conroy, making return visits to Philly Pressbox Radio.
Yeah, Kevin to give us his take on the Phillies, Marlins, and beyond, we hope. And Mike to talk about several events coming up, real cool events, not just with the Philly Sports Hall of Fame, but also regarding the Daulton Foundation. So some fun stuff to look forward to.
Absolutely. So, hey, let's get to it. Let's talk Phillies. You had a chance to visit with former Phil shortstop, present radio voice, Kevin Stocker, just a couple hours ago. What's Stock's take on the series and the Phil's chances of another Red October run?
Well, yeah, as you said, we just talked a few hours ago. He's down at the ballpark now. So without any further ado, here's our conversation. Phillies baseball with a former Phil, currently a color analyst on Phillies radio broadcasts. It's Kevin Stocker. Hey, great to see you again, Kevin.
Hi, how are you?
All right. So, Kevin, a solid performance by Zach Wheeler from the Phillies last night in Game 1. And what are the key takeaways from that victory, do you think?
Well, I mean, it's huge to get that first one. There's a couple of things for me. I think one, obviously, Zach, he was certainly pumped up. He was throwing hard, and that was huge to go deep into the game. That's the first thing. And staying with the pitching, I think the bullpen coming out and doing as well as they did. Zach was great, but the bullpen, how do I say this? The bullpen spots that they came in were huge situations, and they answered. So here we are, the Phillies. coming out of spring training saying, hey, we've got this great bullpen. Let's put them to the test. And they did last night. And I thought those 2 big outs with Alvarado and Hoffman were huge. So that was really important. And then I think just the fact that you're playing a Marlins team that I think they're not a team that gets intimidated easy. The right-handers in this lineup were going to have big days. And can you believe it? They did. Bohm, Castellanos, those 2 from the right side, because you're facing so many lefties in this lineup. So the guys that have to step up in situational hitting did that last night. So those are probably the 3 most takeaways that I had, the keys for the game.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but man, the crowd looked like it was electric. What about that crowd? Is that really a factor? Could that influence a game?
It does influence a game. Twofold. One, it gives the players a lot of energy. That's just, I mean, they were cheering Zach Wheeler when he was walking to the bullpen, right? They cheered Rhys Hoskins, and they gave him just so much love when he came out for the first pitch. This started, the cheering and how loud they were started 45 minutes before the start of the game. If you're a Marlins player, you absolutely hear that when you get, booed when you come out. They are really intense. So that it can be really tricky for a visiting team to have to come in and deal with that. You try as hard as you can to kind of put it out of your mind. I know Paul Mahler, I once talked to him back in the day. I used to ask him or listen to him talk about scoreboard watching. And it's very similar to, or going in and facing a rowdy crowd. You can try all you want to put them out of your mind, and all you're doing is wasting energy. So I said, well, how do you deal with that? You deal with that by just accepting the fact that they're going to be on you. They're going to boo you. You have to look around, absorb it, and then play beyond that. That's the only way to get through something like last night. The crowd was very intense. It was really fun to watch.
So Aaron Nola takes the hill for the Phillies tonight. He was very good his last couple of times out, but in his 12 career starts against the Marlins at Citizens Bank Park, he's just 1-5 with a 4.15 ERA. 8 earned runs over 10 innings in his 2 home starts against the Fish at CBP this year. What do you expect from Nola tonight?
I think he's going to be great. I do. I think that he's pitching well. I'm not sure once you get into the playoff, and I know the numbers don't match up right, but in his mind, he's not thinking about those numbers. I think more than anything, he's just thinking about how he prepares for any other match or any other pitching performance. Here's the thing with Aaron. I think in a game, in a format where it's 3 games like this, I think with Aaron and the way he's been throwing this year, you have all the confidence and you let him go. I do think the leash on him will be a little shorter than usual, maybe in the past. So if you see Aaron get a bunch of runners on, that has been an issue for Aaron. And these guys can get on base a lot. They're a really good batting average team. They get a lot of singles. If Aaron has a lot of traffic, that tends to be an issue for him. So in saying that, if he's running through the first, 2-3 innings, it's fine. If he gets a lot of traffic in the 4th and 5th, I wouldn't be surprised if Thompson goes quickly to his pen. And that goes to kind of what you asked me last night. We only had a couple of guys come in from the pen and throw. They should be really fresh. So that's the one thing with Aaron. I think he's ready. I think his stuff is great, but I do think it'll be a little bit shorter leash from Thompson.
Now, if there is a game 3 needed Thursday night, we certainly hope that's not the case. Who starts for the Phils?
That's a great question. I think it'll be Ranger. I think Ranger will start, unless by some crazy chance you have Ranger have to come in tonight, which I can't see. I think Ranger would start that game. I'm guessing a lot of people would like to see Christopher Sanchez start. I don't think that'll happen. I think he'll go in with the experience. Rob puts a lot of confidence in guys that have been there before and have the experience. And I think Ranger's been throwing really well. He's clearly healthy. So that would be my guess on who would start.
As we speak at midday Wednesday, we don't yet have the lineup for game 2, but in the first game it was Christian Pache in left field, not Brandon Marsh, with another lefty starting for the Marlins tonight, Braxton Garrett. We could see the same lineup tonight. I know Marsh has sometimes struggled against southpaws, but a lot of people on social media thought it was kind of a disservice not to give Marsh the start in the first playoff game. What say you, Kevin?
Well, they have to get over that. It's not about being service to the players. It's about winning baseball games for the city and the team. And so this was no surprise to Brandon. It'd be one thing if Brandon had been playing and doing well every day, and then he doesn't get the start. That's a little different. I think it was very clear at the 2-3 weeks ago how this was going to play out with Pache and Brandon Marsh. Those two had clearly accepted a little bit of that platoon role. Now let's go back to 1993. It was Milt Thompson, Pete Incaviglia. It was Jim Eisenreich platooning with Wes Chamberlain. It was just tons of platoons. The only way to win in a situation where you've got, especially in today's game, where you're going to be doing that, everybody has to be on board. And Thompson is amazing at his communication. The guys love him and they trust him. And even last night's game, Pache got the big hit, but he ended up coming out. As soon as they had a right-hander come in, Marsh went in, Pache was the first guy top step cheering, and it goes vice versa. So I get, they're like, hey, they like their players. Fans like their players. They want to see them play. At the same time, Rob has to do what's best for the team. And I think the guys have bought into that. So I hopefully the fans will get past that, because you know what's going to happen is Brandon Marsh is going to have some big moments coming up, and I want them to be ready for that.
Sure. Hey, my radio partner, Bill, and I talk a lot about Kyle Schwarber, the pros and cons of him leading off, et cetera. Where do you stand on that topic, Kevin?
I've given up. I've given up on the old traditional leadoff role and all that. And I think everybody else should too. All you have to do is look at the results. I mean, the wins and losses are so drastically weighted to wins when he's in the leadoff spot. He's put up some weird numbers that no one can explain. And that to me goes to what we always call like the eye test, or not everything can be numbers. And this has been a little bit of the issue with analytics. Analytics give you tons of information, but it doesn't give you everything. You look at Kyle, it doesn't weigh in his leadership. He doesn't weigh in how he stresses the pitcher from the first pitch at the start of the game with the crowd behind him. There's so many of those things where I can't explain this. That's fine. Don't. Just go win baseball games. Go out there and hit home runs, get on base and do your thing. So I am fine with it. And I'll be honest with you, early in the year, I went back and was looking at even some of these Marlin games. If you look at the lineups, they had Turner trying to lead off. They had Stott trying to lead off. He did that. And I say Thompson did that. And he gave it a really good effort with those guys. It didn't work. The team didn't win. Kyle is happier up there. The team responds to that. Just leave it alone. Leave it alone and enjoy the fact he might go yard from the first pitch on.
There you go. Hey, You mentioned Alec Boehm coming through last night. What do you make of his improvement? Not only, getting a little more power this year, but as a third baseman.
Well, it's twofold. Let me just hit. I think offensively, his pitch selection is off the charts. So he's starting to figure out that I don't have to try and hit home runs. I can just stay within myself, hit the other way, and the home runs will come. So that's a maturation process. Hopefully I'm saying that right. But so he's really matured that way. And I think he's been terrific, obviously, in runners in scoring position. Very confident. Defensively, I got to take my hats off to the guy because he's been floating across the diamond. So he's going third. During the season, he was third to first to third to first. That drives me nuts. As a defensive guy, unless you're a true utility player, which I think is a role in itself, I don't know that I could have been a utility guy. I liked one spot. I was really good at that one spot. I think Alec is excellent at third. I think he is a very good defender. I think his arm is good. I think he reads the ball much better. He does fine at first base, but clearly he helps this team, in my opinion, best at third base. I think he's been great.
Now, I'm not assuming that this little best of three wild card series is over, but assuming the Phillies do advance, the matchup with the Braves should be a great one. The Phillies would be underdogs, I would think, just like a year ago, but how do the Phils and Braves match up?
Oh, boy. Well, the Braves are favorites, I think, in the long run. Just the way they would be among everybody right now, they're going to be tough to beat. And it's because it's hard to find a weak spot with this team. Offensively, they come out at the top of their lineup all the way down. They have power. They have a ton of speed. They can kind of do everything offensively, and it's constant pressure. And then you look at their pitching staff. I do believe they've had an injury or two, so it'll depend a little bit, and I haven't looked yet on who's coming back from the staff. I think Charlie Morton was down. There might have been somebody else that had some issues that are kind of coming back. Starting pitching is good. If I pointed to one thing, the bullpen for the Phillies is a stronger bullpen. And that's where I would say, if you can figure out a way, not me, but if the Phillies can figure out a way to somehow get into their bullpen early, which is not easy with Strider and these studs that come out and throw, then I think they have a much better chance at putting runs on the board. Because I do think the bullpen for the Phillies is a stronger bullpen, but they're definitely going to have to step up. But what's tough about that is, again, you're looking at Acuna Jr., he's going to be MVP. You're looking at Albies. You're looking at a great power hitter in Olsen. It goes on down the line. They're the real deal. There's a reason that they won this division by, 12 or 15 games. And yet the Phillies are so good and still lost the division by that many. So there's a lot of respect there for the Braves.
Last thing, Kevin, what are the plans for the radio broadcast crew as we hopefully move deep into October and hopefully even November? I think you did the middle innings last night with T-Mac.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Oh, it was so much fun. So this is my first playoff as a broadcaster. So here's the plan, as I understand, is the home games will be just like you saw last night. So it'll be Larry. All five of us get to work, which is great. Being Murphy, Tom McCarthy jumps over as well. So it'll be Larry and Fransky doing 1 through 3, and then 7 through 9, and then Tom and myself doing the middle innings at home, and that'll flip flop on the road for me and Larry. So it'll be myself with Scott Fransky 1 and 3, and doing the last 3, and then Larry will jump into that middle, and then Murph will keep doing the pre and post, and then we're just trying to have a blast. I mean, it's we get the whole TV thing, but radio is so much more fun. We just have a great time and can talk about a lot of different things. So that's the plan as of now.
I had the ESPN broadcast on in one side of the room, and I had the radio guys on from the other corner. So I was listening to both at the same time.
Good.
You did a great job. Terrific.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that.
It is Red October, and it's going to be another fun ride. Catch this guy on 94 WIP and the Phil's Radio Network. Kevin Stocker, thank you.
You got it, man. All right.
Hey, good stuff from Stock, no doubt about it.
Bill, I got to get your reaction to what he said about Schwarber leading off. Come on.
Well, I get it. I get it. He's the best sub 200 hitter in the history of the game. Let him ride.
Yeah, and the Phils do seem to win more with him there. So
it's too late. It's too late now. Well, like it or not, here we are, and we're going to win the World Series with him in that spot. I hope.
I think they got a shot.
Hey, you didn't mention, but I want to mention to you, Dusty Wathan had a couple opportunities last night. What your take? First of all, he didn't run Schwarber in the first inning with no outs. I kind of get that. The throw ended up being horrible, and we didn't score. He did send Castellanos. He got thrown out at the plate. He threw the stop sign up on Harper. Harper ran the stop sign and scored. A little too conservative from Dusty down there at third.
I'm with you on the Schwarber thing, though. Nobody out with the heart of the lineup coming up, Harper and JT, et cetera. I was fine with that. Plus, Schwarber's not exactly a speed demon. As far as Castellanos getting sent, that was a great throw and great tag to get him. So that was kind of bang, bang. I'm kind of okay with that. But there was no way he should have stopped Harper. And Harper said he didn't really see Dusty. We know that's not true. Harper,
when you weren't looking. That's
yeah.
Why you didn't see it.
Harper was going all the way, and, he made it easily. So, Dusty screwed that one up for sure.
Yeah. Well, it kind of looked like, in my mind, he's as pumped up as everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm surprised in the first inning he didn't send him. Maybe, if anything, be over aggressive because he was hyped,
Yeah.
But he kept the game in front of him, and I guess that's good. Tonight, Aaron Nola, Stock said, maybe 5 innings or so. I think we get 6 solid innings from Nola tonight, and I think that's what we gotta shoot for.
Yeah, I would love to see that, and he has pitched very well the last couple of times out there. So let's hope that's the case. And as we mentioned with Stock, it will be the same lineup tonight. Pache in left field, and he did get a big hit, big RBI last night. And then Marsh came in later when the right-hander came on. So hey, if it worked last night, try it again tonight. What the heck?
No, that's right. And speaking of that, that was going to be my next thing I was going to say to you. What do you do in the bullpen? Alvarado is your guy. Hoffman is your guy.
Yeah.
You used them last night, not for a lot. You bring them back tonight if you need them, or you go Sir Anthony. You go a different direction. What are you doing, Coach?
If it's a 1-run game, 7th or 8th inning or 9th inning, I'm very nervous with Sir Anthony or even Craig Kimbrell on a back-to-back night. So I think I would take my chances more with Alvarado again. Plus, you got, some other guys out there. The kid, Kirkering, whatever. I don't know if he's ready for a real high leverage situation like that after 2 or 3 big league appearances. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the bullpen tonight in a tight game for sure.
Yeah. Well,
that Strom's available, so we'll probably see Strom.
Yeah. I mean, if it's me, assuming it's a close game, that's right where I'm going. I'm going Strom, Hoffman, Alvarado, and then hopefully go get a shower.
Better yet, let's win 8-1. How's that?
Well, better yet. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Back to the Phillies a little bit later on, Chet. But in the meantime, we've reached fall and gas prices have stayed up. Time for you to save some money with Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance.
Yeah, that's for sure, Bill. Allstate's pay-as-you-go auto insurance puts you in control. You only pay for the miles you drive with the same full coverage that a traditional policy offers. Pay-per-mile insurance gives customers greater control of their insurance costs. See how much you can save with pay-per-mile car insurance by calling your local agent. In Westchester, Pennsylvania, that is Dave Lavoie. Dave Lavoie, Allstate in Westchester. Call Dave at 610-430-0700. Once again, 610-430-0700.
Well, hey, Chet, Oktoberfest looked like it was a big hit over at the Irish Rover Station House. Of course, we got the Eagles, we got the Phillies playoffs. What is happening next at the Rover?
Well, yeah, let me go back to last Saturday. It was just a great day, the whole Oktoberfest event. Hung out with our friends Chris plus Jamie from Trogs. A bunch of my friends and relatives were there, so there's a bunch of us hanging out right there. I mentioned the beer stein hoisting thing that happened as well. That was a whole lot of fun. They had a women's competition and the men's. I had to leave before that started, unfortunately, so I didn't really get to see that, but I did see some of the pictures later. There's Chris and Jamie from Trogs. Great people, great event. I had a blast. Everybody I was with had a terrific time there. Anyway, this month at the Irish Rover, Phillies postseason games on the many TVs there. Thursday through Sunday dinner specials, live music on Saturday nights. And at the end of the month, then, it is the Irish Rovers Halloween party. That is Saturday the 28th. Drink and appetizer specials, spooky cocktails, and prizes for the best costumes. What a great month of events at the Irish Rover, which is on Bellevue Avenue in Langhorne. Get details on their website, which is irishroverstationhouse.com.
Hi, football fans. This is Merrill Reese, and you're listening to Bill and Chet on Philly Pressbox Radio. It's good!
Chet, I have to tell you, speaking of Merlin being good, I got a chance to listen to a good portion of the game on Sunday, and then watched it later on. Merle's still good. He's still got it.
Oh, absolutely.
And Merle and Mike weren't happy with how the defense was playing. I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, when you give up a lot of points like that, and they couldn't get stops when they needed them, including that last drive that sent the game into overtime, that is kind of concerning. But hey, bottom line, they got the win.
Well, they're 4-0, and they're one of only two remaining undefeated teams. Might not have been pretty as we want, but it's a good division win. We'll certainly take that. And next up, the Rams. Looks like I just saw late this afternoon, Fletcher Cox may not be a go for the Los Angeles game.
And the Rams are better than a lot of people thought they were going to be this year. Now they're getting Cooper Kupp back in action. So they're tough. And I guess Aaron Donald's still there on defense. That's a good club. This will not be easy. I think the line has come down also. I think it started at 5.5 Eagles. Now it's down to 4.5 or 4. So Eagles will represent for sure out there with the fans, but it's not going to be as easy as a lot of people think.
Yeah, and it's funny. Washington comes in with almost the same type of game plan as last year. Control the game, control the clock, run the ball, mix in their passes, and it was successful again. They had the Eagles on the rope, and we could say that the Eagles didn't play well. Maybe Washington played pretty well, and I think they did. And hats off to the Eagles for coming back, bouncing back, and taking the lead in that game, only to give it back in the last minute and a half.
Yeah, I was there. It was my one game for this year.
That's what worried me. That worried me too. Yeah.
Hey, that's 2 in a row now I've won. I was there last year when they beat the Steelers. But yeah, it was definitely shaky, getting behind by 10 early and then blowing the late lead. What did you think of the decision to get that quick score on their last drive rather than just try to, run it and play cautious and maybe win it with a field goal in the last 30 seconds? Yeah,
well, you know me, I want to run the ball. I want to run the ball a lot, and they want to throw the ball to A.J. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I would now. Swift didn't have near as much success this time around. He did average 4 yards carry, but it was not as easy running for the Eagles this time. Gainwell did not gain many yards at all. I want to say 16, if I remember right, for the game.
Did not gain well.
He did not gain well. So the running game was a little tougher sledding. So, but I think they pushed the ball down the field a little deeper than I would have liked. Even if they had to throw it, I'd have just kept move the chains.
Yeah. But on the other hand, you would think that a defense would be able to stop a guy named Sam Howell when they really had to. And of course, the A.J. Brown penalty, which gave them another 15 yards head start, that did not hurt either. The little taunting call.
Yeah, that was awful by Brown. And I guess to Jalen Hurts' credit, I guess he had a little chat with him about that and told him, "Man, you're hurting the team doing that stuff." But
yeah, and AJ took, admitted that he was wrong and he's got to do better. So,
yeah,
hey, they got the win, as we said. The defense does have to play better. They did have 5 sacks, but they're not creating the turnovers quite like they were last year, and they still haven't played anywhere close to a perfect game. But this was their best game offensively, certainly throwing the ball. Jalen looked pretty darn good out there for the most part. He had, 1 or 2 bad throws, and that one where he got called for intentional grounding, which I think was more just a miscommunication.
That was a bad call.
That was good.
That was a bad call.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
there were a few bad calls.
Yeah, there were. But I guess the only other thing I would say, Chet, that last drive defensively, man, it was soft. And the last touchdown, the touchdown pass was just too easy.
Way too easy, too open. So
yeah. They let him run in the end zone, turn around, and we're backpedaling in the end zone. That doesn't get it done. But hey, a win is a win. We'll take it. And I like what Nick Sirianni said. How much better do you need to be than 4-0? I like that.
All right.
Well, hey, Sixers camp. Let's talk about that. Your boy James Harden did show up. Didn't show up for media day. Shows up today. How's this going to work out?
Boy, I have no idea. It's one of those situations where part of me wishes that he just wouldn't show up and they would just somehow cut ties with him and just take the loss. But on the other hand, he is their only shot at contending in the East this year. But even if he's playing at full speed and he wants to be a real contributor, they came up short with him last year and he's a year older and they haven't gotten, I don't think, that much better otherwise. So
no,
I don't know. This is the least excited I've been in October about a Sixers team in about 5 years. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, and there's good reason. I think Boston made another blockbuster trade.
Drew Holiday, yeah.
They're getting better. The Sixers did not do much to get better. And Chet, whenever I wake up and somebody tells me you're going to get $36 million plus if you go to work, I'm probably going to go.
Yeah. Now we haven't heard, how it went at practice, but he did practice. He did show up. But, what's the attitude? Is he going to just go through the motions, or is he going to really, really try and, try to help them win going forward? So that's what we're going to be watching through practices and the preseason. Here's
what I'm going to tell you. If the Philadelphia fans, get wind that you're getting paid $36 million and you're not putting out, it's not going to be pretty. They won't be able to get him out of town fast enough.
Hey, we got a guest waiting to come on, so enough with the Sixers. Tell us about the Edge of Philly weekly lineup, and we'll bring our guest on.
Let's do it. Let's talk about the Edge of Philly Sports Network this week. The gang has all the bases covered, as you can see on the graphic. You can catch all the action on www.eopsports.com, as well as Edge of Philly Sports on YouTube, so you can catch the shows anytime. You can also find our show on Philly Pressbox Radio's YouTube channel. Hit both of them. Hit the subscribe, follow, and like buttons. And as always, share with your family and friends. As you can see, wall-to-wall coverage every night of the week and a lot on Sundays and Phillies games. So plenty to check out. Do it. Edge of Philly Sports Network.
Yeah, a lot going on there and a bunch of good guys, too.
That's right. Well, hey, Chet, you and I had our first opportunity to vote as official media members of the class of 2023 Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, due in good part to our next guest, the treasurer of that organization, Mike Conroy.
Yeah, we met Mike just about a year ago, and he's a very busy guy who does a lot of work for both the Philly Sports Hall of Fame and the Daulton Foundation, which happens to have a couple of great events coming up real soon. So why don't we find out about all of that?
Well, let's welcome Mike Conroy back to Philly Press Box Radio. Mike, welcome.
Hey, guys. Happy Red October.
You
Oh,
betcha.
yeah.
This is fun times.
Exciting times. Yeah, before we talk about all the benefits and whatever, what are your early thoughts about this Phillies Marlins series and, the Phils taking game one, trying to move on to Atlanta tonight?
Well, last night went exactly the way I thought. Wheeler was going to come out and dominate. 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, looked phenomenal. Have some reservations with Nola. I just feel like it's going to be a tight game, and he misses that one pitch and gives up a 2-run shot, and they're going to deflate the stadium. So they need to jump on the Marlins very early, get that lead, and allow him to make that one mistake and still be in the ball game to take it.
Well, hey, Mike, I don't know if you were on when you heard our interview with Kevin Stocker. Stock thinks a little bit short leash maybe for Nola, that if he starts getting a lot of traffic on the bases, it might be a quick hook from Topper.
I can absolutely see that. I mean, Nola had the confidence going into that last outing before the postseason, so he's hopefully riding that wave, and let's see how he performs tonight. But the crowd's behind him, and it's going to be rocking down there.
Well, Mike, speaking of the Phillies, one of our favorite Phillies was Darren Daulton, and there's a big event coming up this Sunday. In fact, it's one on Sunday and one on Monday. Tell me about the celebrity bartending event that's happening on Sunday.
Yes, so for the Darren Daulton Foundation, we have 2 big fundraising events. We have the celebrity bartending, which takes place on Sunday around noon at Live Casino. As you can see on the screen, we have many of our fan favorites coming back, and we do have a Brian Prop sighting, obviously not a Philly, but a fan favorite nonetheless here in the Philadelphia area. But it's a great, turnout. We usually get 100 plus individuals. The celebrities are walking around, pouring shots, doing beers, engaging in stories, and it's really an opportunity to meet, the 93 team and get to know them on a personal level. Even down to Crucky trading his jersey number for 2 cases of Bud Light. I mean, he'll tell you soup to nuts the entire story, but it's just great to meet these guys on such a personal level. And then that rolls right into Columbus Day and the celebrity golf outing, where it's at Huntington Valley Golf Course, where we get a huge turnout, 300 plus golfers, really, wow. Raising dollars for cancer research. And, Brett Datto and the team at the Darren Daulton Foundation do a fantastic job of raising money and awareness on behalf of Dutch and the foundation, really providing income to families in need that are suffering through this, illness and situation.
Hey, Mike, we saw last night at the game where, we have Eagles, Sirianni's at the game. We have Flyers at the Phillies game. These teams are all supporting each other. Now we're in season with everybody basically at this point, but do the other organizations, former players come to the Daulton Foundation as well and support that?
At times it's mostly more the alumni that'll come. I know the Phillies at times, when they were not in the postseason, we'd have Reese Hoskins sightings and Knapp and some of the other current players. But now since Red October's taken over, it's mostly the alumni from the Flyers. We hardly get Sixers, but some of the Flyers folks do come out to help celebrate, as well as former Eagles, Mike Mamula and others.
And we do know that the Eagles have a game right after that. So the timing for the celebrity bartending thing is great. I think the VIP thing starts at 12:30. Then it's 1 to 4 for the general public who have tickets. And I know that's sold out already. So congratulations on that. Yes. And then, of course, a lot of people will either hang out there or rush off to their homes or somewhere else because the Eagles play at 4:25. So that's a great Sunday right there.
Yes, it's a long Sunday, definitely going into Monday. So, some of the celebrities as well as the individuals enjoying themselves on Sunday roll up pretty late for the golf outing, but everybody makes it out.
Hey, Mike, jump over to the Philly Sports Hall of Fame class of 2023. Another tremendous class of Philadelphia athletes.
Yes. Well, number one, thank you guys for casting your vote. We have a tremendous class going in this year. Bernard Hopkins, Carol Lewis, Jay Wright, as you can see there, Trotter, Irving Fryer, Bill Giles, Willie Puddinhead Jones, Joe Watson. You can see the list that goes on and on. And what's even special about the class this year, it is our 20th anniversary of the Hall of Fame. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, there's going to be a few surprises and former inductees. I think we have at least one or two from every class throughout the 20 years. So exciting times and some great people that are going to show up.
Do you know, do you have commitments from all the living members from this year's class? Will they be there?
We have, I believe, 80% commitment of those showing up. So, Chooch, Bernard Hopkins, they're all going to be there in attendance. And we do have, I believe, 35 to 40 of the former inductees that have confirmed that they will be in attendance.
Yeah, that is a great lineup right there. So, hopefully they will be there. We get to say hello to all of them. And I'm hoping Joe Watson is there as well, because Joe is just a great guy and a fun dude to hang around with.
Yes, the Flyers alumni come in full force. So Brad Marsh brings, a whole army from, the barber down, so we should have a good crowd in from the Flyers alumni. And again, that's November 2nd at Live Casino. Tickets are still available for those that would like to come. It's phillysportshalloffame.org. Look on the website, check it out, but it's a great event. And Chet, we've talked last year and you got to see it firsthand of, just how engaging and just, surrounded with camaraderie of the former inductees and getting to know each other and getting to know some unique stories that really aren't mainstream for individuals that are going in.
And what's the time? What's the time and date again, Mike?
So the time of day, I believe it starts at 4:00, if I'm not mistaken, and runs through 8. But then obviously the after parties and things of that nature down in the casino lounge run throughout the night, Bill.
Okay. And last year, Jimmy Rollins was there, right? And he came, but then he had to hustle on over to the stadium, right?
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Jimmy left Jimmy left to run over to our event. He was, of course, the main individual and spoke at the end, and he took pictures, kissed babies, and literally ran out the door and did a sprint right across the street to catch. I think he was in by the 3rd inning. So he was in, good company at that point.
Now, I did check the way things are scheduled. Game 5 of the World Series this year will be on Wednesday, and then Thursday would be a day off, and then Game 6 would be on Friday. So barring rainouts or whatever, and we're hoping the Phillies are there.
That's what happened last year. It rained out, and they pushed the day directly on our event. So we got our fingers crossed here that
not going to happen this year. Phillies will be there, no rainouts.
Exactly right. So we're hoping everybody will be there and enjoying it, and hopefully Red October still going into the November, World Series time.
Mike, what's your view of the Eagles so far? 4-0, despite not playing a great game just yet. You liking their chances this season again?
I do. I just think the coaching staff's still green. I don't think they had a lot of experience in the preseason to really work with the talent they have on the field. So I think they're modifying. I saw some good changes from the offensive coordinator. The pass isn't working, run it down their throat. If they're getting 5 yards a clip, take it. I didn't like the A.J. Brown throwing the tantrum. It reminded me too much of T.O. McNabb. However, he's a stud out there. I just hope there isn't any animosity between him and Goddard and Devonta Smith, because, they all need to share the rock as well as the running game. But the offense is running. I think Hurts is going to find his niche. That defense, the front four look great. Linebacker are kind of missing their gaps, opening up for a little bit bigger runs. And, Slay just looked old last week. I'm sorry. He just looked like he was out of step for a 31, 32-year-old corner. So let's hope the defense kind of puts some pressure on them to force the quick release and give him an opportunity to make some tackles up front.
What's really interesting, since you mentioned Slay, is Terry McLaurin owns him. He owned him last year.
Every year.
He owned him last week. Whatever it is, Terry McLaurin's got Slay's number, I think.
No, I definitely believe that. But I did hear the last comment from you, Bill. I think, going for the points, absolutely at the end of the game. A.J. Brown, foolish mistake. You just don't do that with the game on the line. And, that defense should have came up. I mean, you let Washington run down the field and score with 0 seconds left. If those 15 yards were on the board, maybe they were at the 30-yard line without a shot.
Right.
But again, dumb penalties lead to losses. And right now, they're hanging on by a thread. So let's hope they get their act together this week.
How you feeling about this week out in LA against the Rams?
You know what? I think they got a formidable front with Donaldson. So, I just think it's the offense is there. Stafford can burn you at any point in time. They really just got to get pressure on him, and he coughs the ball up pretty good under pressure. So just got to hope that front four with Carter and Davis, and I heard Fletcher is probable or questionable at this juncture. So, again, just keep rolling them out and pushing those pockets back and let them throw some flares up.
Yeah, I did see some of the Rams game last week. They were playing the Colts, and Matt Stafford was hobbling around pretty bad there late in the game. So I don't know if he's full tilt or not. I haven't checked on that, but he may be a little banged up as well.
Yeah, I agree, but we do have McVay's number. So that's one number that it's in the Philly pocket right now. So let's hope it continues.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game, and hopefully another win for the Eagles because, every win counts, and they do have that tough schedule later on in the season. So every win you can get now is going to help you in the end.
Absolutely. I would agree with that.
Hey, Mike, one final question,
Yes,
and then we want you to recap your events again. But one final question for you. James Harden and the – what do you have it?
Punt him away. Like I told Chet, I really hope you cut ties with the guy. I think he brings down the team. I think he brings down Maxey. I think Maxey, if he had the opportunity to be the lead there, I think he would shine. I think oftentimes in games he got lost because he didn't know what to do with Harden because Harden either wanted to take it or he wanted to pass, depending on how out of shape he was from, going to his establishment, so to speak. So, in a nutshell, I think the Sixers are better off without him, to be honest, even though JoJo plays the political line and, they want him to come back.
All right. So Sunday, we've got the celebrity bartending event. That is at Live Casino. Great bunch of guests there for that. So that'll be a whole lot of fun. And let's see, I have another picture there. Oh, yeah, there it is. 1 to 4.
There's Don Carmen ready to do drinks.
Yeah. Don likes to party. I discovered that.
Yes, he does. Same with Scott Air. Scott Air loves to bring his 08 ring. He'll share it. He walks away from it. I'm shocked, considering the value of the thing. But they love to enjoy themselves, man. It's a great time. And really, if you have an opportunity to go, please go.
Just some VIP tickets available for that. And then on Monday, you have the golf outing, correct?
That's correct, which is completely sold out 100%. So we have 400 golfers or 300 and change coming. Great event, but definitely look for the 11th annual golf outing next year. It's always on Columbus Monday. So, please look ahead and hopefully I'll be on with you guys to share the announcement when tickets are available or when foursomes are available. And then we'll go right into Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, which is November 2nd, also at Live. PhiladelphiaSportsHallOfFame.org is where you can find tickets. We do have all tickets available. I believe we have 100 plus tickets remaining to the event, but they'll sell out pretty fast. And here's the induction list. As you can see, some good names here. Bill Giles, Ruiz, Joe Watson, Willie Puddinhead Jones, Jeremiah Trotter, you name it, as well as our 20th anniversary. So you'll see plenty of alumni that I don't want to share the surprise. So if you do show up, you may run into individuals that you've idolized or seen play in some great moments in Philly sports history.
That is fantastic.
Very good. Hey, Mike, on the golf outing that's sold out, can fans just go and hang out?
That's actually a good question, Bill. I'm unsure at this time if fans can just go and buy like the cocktail hour afterwards. I don't believe it is. I believe it's 100% golfers to after party, but that's something I'll definitely follow up and give you guys more information. That might be something Brett would take advantage of.
Yeah, somebody might like to just try to go get an autograph as long as it's not out of hand or something.
Yeah, no, exactly right. I mean, the players are gracious too, so they'd be more than happy to do such.
Mike, I will see you on Sunday.
Yes, very much so. Hopefully we'll have some cocktails and be talking some shop, some good stuff.
Sounds good.
Well, Mike, thanks for taking the time to join us. Let's do it again.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Go Phillies, go Eagles, go Philly sports at this point. It's Christmas for us.
That's right.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. That was fun.
Yes, it was. Hey, Chet, speaking of fun, it's prediction time, pal. What do you think?
Well,
I know you're
what do you
going
want
to
me to
comment
predict?
that you're in first place. I'm putting it on the tee for you. There you go.
I
It's on the
predict that
tee.
I will stay in first place all season long, Bill. How about that? That's what I
Yeah, that's the last tee you get from me, pal.
predict.
Hey, before we get into this week's picks, though, how are you, Bob Patron Jr., Boop to his friends, doing through week 4 on both our picks and our margin of victory pool?
Well, the margin of victory pool update will come after the pick 'em pool picks, but we all had a great weekend for a change, Bill. A perfect 4-0, believe it or not. So 4 weeks into the season, I am now 13-3. Boop is 12-4, and you're 11-5, Bill, which is good enough for last place and 2 games behind me.
But you know what? I'm still in the hunt, pal.
Long way to go.
All right, let's do it. Week 5 NFC East picks. We're no extra games because no one is playing an inter division game. So we have Thursday night football. The Washington Commanders host the Chicago Bears. The Commanders -5.5. The struggling New York football, I don't even know if you can call them football giants, visit Miami. Dolphins -10.5. Dallas visits San Francisco. 49ers are -3.5. And the Eagles travel to Los Angeles to face the Rams. The Eagles are -4. Now, I know Boop sent you his picks. You haven't looked at them yet, or you're just looking
I have
at
not.
them now for the
I
first
get the
time.
email from Boop. I print it out. I don't even look at it. I just make sure it's there, and I have not looked at it. So I don't know who Boop picked as yet. But
All right, so let's go. Thursday night, Washington hosting the Bears. Commanders -5.5.
Boop says, and again, I'm reading this for the first time, Chicago has lost 7 straight road games by a total margin of 116 points. Yowza. Boop is taking the Commanders. I'm also taking Washington.
I'm taking the Commanders too. The Bears are really not good.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. And it was funny. Some people before the season were asking, is Justin Fields as good as Jalen Hurts, maybe? Here's the answer. No. And the Bears stink.
And somebody we know, Keith Pompey, wants to know if Daniel Jones is as good as Jalen Hurts. So the struggling Giants visit the Dolphins. The Dolphins are -10.5.
I'm surprised that line's not bigger, to be honest. And I think even Keith knows that the Giants right now are trash. As far as what Boop says, he says, at least New York must be happy to get out of North Jersey, where they have scored as many touchdowns this season as Taylor Swift. Seeing this for the first time.
I thought we were going through this show without that.
Hey, blame Boop. Blame Boop. He's picking the Dolphins. I'm picking the Dolphins.
I'm picking the Dolphins.
Yeah, and they will cover. I may throw some money on the Dolphins to cover. The Giants really do stink. Okay.
Yeah, they do. Dallas visits San Francisco. 49ers -3.5. Talk about 2 teams that do a lot of talking, Chet. What do you think?
They do. And this should be a pretty good game, actually. It is the Sunday night football game. Let's see what Boop says. He says the last time the Niners started their season by scoring 30-plus points in each of their first 4 games, they were in the AAFC 1948. Wow. Okay, Boop. Boop doesn't lie. I think this is going to be a great game. And, Boop picks the 49ers. This really hurts, but I'm picking the Cowboys. I just have this feeling that Dallas is going to win this game. Either way, I guess I'll be happy. I'll either make the correct pick or the Cowboys will lose. But I'm picking Dallas. Boop is taking the Niners.
I'm taking Dallas.
Whoa.
Yeah, it pains me as too, but I actually looked at some statistics on team statistics in this game, and the one thing that I saw was that I believe the 49ers are 3rd in rushing defense, and Dallas is 18th in rushing offense. That's the only real difference in the stats. Other than that, they're both pretty well loaded up. I'm not sold on Brock Purdy yet. Let me see him win a big game.
He's a good game manager, and they keep winning. He just doesn't lose. So it's got to happen at some point. I'm taking Dallas.
If Christian McCaffrey doesn't run like crazy, which Dallas has pretty good defense, and the game goes on to Purdy, let's see how he performs.
One more game.
Eagles, Rams. Eagles -4. Tough game here.
Boop says, remember when the Rams won a Super Bowl recently? Yeah, neither do they. He's picking the Eagles. I'm picking the Eagles, but I think it's going to be tight. It might even be right around that 3 or 4 point margin. So should be a good game. Let's take the Birds.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Eagles too, and I agree with you. I hate to do that again, but I think it's going to be a tight game too. I don't think we're going out there and roll over them. One, we got to go out there, so there's that, and and they're home, and I think the Eagles are a better team, but I think they're going to have to show it.
Eagles fans will be there, Philly sports trips and otherwise. So the Eagles will have that in their favor. But I made the mistake of picking the Eagles to cover the 8.5 against Washington last week, and that didn't happen. I'm not betting this game. So there you have it. As for our margin of victory pool standings and all that, let's see. Here we go. I'm in first place. I'm 4-0. You're 4-0, but my margins have been bigger than yours, Bill. Last week, we both won. I had San Francisco. They won by 19. You had Minnesota. They won by 8. Boop also took the Niners. Boop has 2 losses already. So I'm in first place there. This weekend, let's see. Boop says Dolphins. Oh, I also have the Dolphins.
Ah, no way.
I'm not surprised if you take them also.
I did. I took them too.
Well, they're playing the stinking Giants. It's not exactly,
but that's no good.
Surprise.
That's no good.
Well, we will all win on that one by the same margin.
We'll win or lose, right? We'll all win
indeed.
or we'll all lose. Well, that's kind of a bummer, but that, if you look at the schedule, that's the one game that kind of sticks out that looks like it could really be a bit of a blowout, I think.
Yeah. And, the blowouts are what gets you more points. So that's why it's the obvious pick.
Right.
Although it gets tougher as the season goes on because you don't have the option to use the same team again. So
that's right.
Yeah.
All right. Football season's in full swing. What's that mean to Bob Cavanaugh and the gang at Cavs Philly Tailgates?
Well, Cavs Philly Tailgates has been cooking up a terrific catering business for more than 30 years. They're known for their tailgate parties. Cavs, a 3-time winner of Philly Tailgates, Jack Daniels, Great American Tailgate Party Contest. They also do corporate events, you name it. And if you check the website, you can get all the details for the tailgate parties that happen before all of the Eagles' home games this season. That is over by Live Casino. Check the site, and if you have any questions, you can email them at cavscatering@verizon.net. Cavs Philly Tailgates is the way to go. And, if you don't know, Cavs also handles things with Vince at Philly Sports Trips. They are the folks to use for all the Eagles road games and much, much more. And as you can see, they're everywhere. That trip to Los Angeles is sold out already, not surprisingly. And looks like the Jets trip is also sold out. Everybody wanted to go up and see the Meadowlands and maybe Aaron Rodgers, but he won't be there. But the game is sold out as far as this tailgate package. A lot of other things in the future, though. Check the schedule. Check the website. It is phillysportstrips.com.
Very good. Well, hey, Chet, great guest tonight at Kevin Stocker and Mike Conroy. Who's coming to Philly Pressbox Radio next week?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Bill, and I have to find my people. Oh, there they are. Yeah, next week, we have a killer show for you, Bill. 2 of my favorite people visiting Philly Pressbox Radio. Of course, we're going to talk Phillies and Eagles, but it is the eve of the Flyers season, and we are going to be joined, Bill, by a legendary Broad Street bully. It is Bob Hound Kelly. Always fun talking to Bob. Just a great, great guy. And, Bill, that's not all. We are going to talk 76ers with someone that I've been badgering to make a return visit, and I finally wore her down. It is Sixers play-by-play voice Kate Scott. If you don't know this already, she is terrific calling Sixers games, and she spent July and August calling Women's World Cup soccer and Seattle Seahawks preseason football games. She does it all. Kate Scott and Bob Hound Kelly joining us next week, Bill.
There you go. Good stuff. And, of course, we'll be talking Red October, we hope, because we'll be in round 2 by then.
Yeah, we will, Bill. Okay, a couple other odds and ends for you, all right?
Go ahead.
Penn State last week improved to 5-0. They are off this weekend before hosting UMass on the 14th and then visiting Ohio State on the 21st. Can't wait for that one. Major League Baseball attendance jumped 9.6% this year, hitting a 6-year high. Methinks the pitch clock is a big part of that reason, Bill. It was exactly 40 years ago today, Bill, that the first ever Hooters opened in Clearwater. There it is.
Been there many a time.
I admit it. I have been in there a couple of times, and I knew you were there too. May have to revisit that next spring. And you know what, Bill? Let me see if I can find this. I need a picture to go with this. I'm going to sneak in a real quick random Chet, real quick. Yeah, the legendary Steve Miller turns 80 years old tomorrow, Bill. And after a whole lot of thought, well, okay, a couple of solid minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, I've decided that these are my absolute favorite Steve Miller songs. Number one has to be The Joker, Take the Money and Run, Rockin' Me, Jetliner, and Fly Like an Eagle. Yeah, they're all huge hits. But for me, The Joker, which, by the way, came out 50 years ago this month, October of 73, I just love it. Every time it comes on, I feel the urge to sing along. Steve Miller doing The Joker. So there you go.
80. Wow.
80 tomorrow, Steve Miller, yes.
What's happening? Well, hey, and I just have one thing to add. I wasn't going to say this, but since we had our minute, hats off to Jason Kelsey and Travis Kelsey for telling the NFL, stop with the coverage.
Oh, did they?
Too much coverage. And I'm not even going to say her name.
Yeah.
Apparently on New Heights last night or whenever it was on, they had a discussion about the overhype coming from the NFL. The NFL even has her name talked about on their website.
I know they had that on the banner there too.
Yeah, they're embarrassing themselves. Get to playing football and let the girl come enjoy the game if she wants to and do whatever she's supposed to do. And hats off to the Kelseys.
It's a little overkill. Anything else you need to add, Bill?
Nope, nothing else that I can think of at the moment.
Okay.
You ready to wrap it? You got something else you want to throw out?
I did have something else. Let me see if I can find it in my notes. You know, I had a longer segment on Steve Miller planned, and then I totally lost all my notes on that. So I just did the
Hey, how about Stevie Nicks as a Barbie doll?
Stevie Nicks as a Barbie doll, yes.
Nuts is that?
Yeah, the Rumors era Barbie doll. It's kind of goofy, but what the hell. Speaking of Stevie Nicks, I will be in Baltimore this weekend for the Stevie Nicks Billy Joel concert at M&T Stadium. And it happens to be the same evening that there's a ball game in Baltimore, Camden Yards, with the Orioles playing game 1 of the ALDS. So it should be a parking mess in that whole
get there
area.
early. Get there early.
Yeah, that's my plan. Get there early. And I'm probably going to miss the Phillies game 1. We don't have the start time yet, but because I'll be down there, I'm not going to get to see the Phillies in Atlanta. We assume that is going to happen, by the way.
Yeah. Stevie Nicks, Billy Joel will be one heck of a show.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've never seen Stevie or Fleetwood Mac. I've seen Billy Joel 4 or 5 times back in the 80s, but first time in a long time. So I'm looking forward to that. Should be a whole lot of fun.
All right.
And then Sunday, I'll be at the Celebrity Bartending event at Live Casino. So if you have tickets, stop on by. If you don't, you're out of luck because they only have a few VIP tickets available still. Otherwise, it's sold out, but I'll be there 1 to 4.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. Let's thank tonight's special guests, Kevin Stocker and Mike Conroy, our sponsors, the Irish Rover Station House, Cavs Philly Tailgates, PPCC 118 Raz Room, Irish Rover Station House, and Dave Lavoie of Allstate Insurance in Westchester, PA. For Jim Chet Chesko, this is Bill Furman. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll join Philly Pressbox Radio next Wednesday, Red October the 11th. At 7 p.m. You can see us live on Facebook, listen to our website, PhillyPressBoxRadio.com, on Google Podcasts, as well as Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and all the others. High hopes, Philadelphia sports fans. Let's go, Phillies. Let's go, Eagles.
I hope he had. I hope he had. I am the fire in the sky.
And now, folks, that's it. Good night to all of you. And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.